Let's go to Jürgen. Jürgen, whole Management 3.0 is a collaboration of sorts. Happy Melee is an incredible collaboration of sorts. Tell us more about what you're up to and how you've woven collaboration into the whole process.
Well, that's interesting development, at least from my perspective, is that I try to practice more what I preach, as I just said now. That's basically also why I started together with Varsko, Duarte, and Martin Volders, the Happy Melee Network, because we were a bit tired of just beaming PowerPoints at consultants and then sharing stories with each other. We wanted to be the kind of company that we suggest other people are. Lead by example, basically. And the same applies to my Management 3.0 courses. I've done many courses, about 80 I counted, all over the world, and I'm quite happy with the results, and people seem to be quite enthusiastic. But I always organize them within a container as specified, defined by local organizers who often have a sort of traditional approach to organizing courses. And when I started preparing for my workshops based on my new upcoming book, I thought maybe I should also try and practice more what I preach in this case. So apply the Management 3.0 practices to the workshop itself. And that means that because if it's a workshop, people actually have to do things. That means, for example, that instead of discussing a delegation board, we will actually be using it. Instead of talking about culture, we will be making a culture book together. Instead of talking about feedback, we will be making feedback raps to give to each other. And money is a very interesting topic, but you can only experience it when you actually give money to each other at the end of the course for a job well done. So I want people to actually feel what it means to apply Management 3.0 practices, as far as we can do that, because it's, of course, just people getting together for one day. That's different from what an organization does. But still, there are plenty of things that we can apply to workshops to make them also a bit more collaborative. So basically, what I do is the work that has been done in the past by local companies who basically do everything from logistics to finance to marketing and everything. I cut that up, and part I gave to Lisette and Eleanor, part I keep for myself, and part I delegate to the participants and tell them, make it happen. It is your workshop, now do something. So more emphasis on self-organization, basically.
Anything you've learned out of that? Because self-organization, when I listen to and I'm watching what goes on in LinkedIn and the conversations around that, self-organization is just a scary concept for people.
It is, yes. Yeah.
Why?
So, and that's why I promote a delegation board, for example. So a very nice example is that in one case, one of the local organizers announced on Twitter that I would be doing the workshop at their venue, and I didn't know about that. I wasn't informed. Now I don't blame them. I blame myself. Because apparently I had not been clear enough about the boundaries around self-organization. I happily invite people to start self-organizing to a certain extent, but at some point I expect a message to me, or at least ask me about a question or two. So and if this goes off track, then I am to blame, because I am the manager of this workshop. So I have to make perfectly crystal clear to everyone what I expect and how much they can do by themselves. So that's why I created a delegation board on the website. Within a couple of days after this happened, I realized, of course, I'm not practicing what I preach in this case, and that's fun for me as well, because I am faced with the necessity of things like this, and we learn. And also what I like with the workshops is that we plan a lot of them in different countries, But we have the same team, so me and Lisette and Eleanor, the three of us, and then of course all the local participants. The three of us can learn more rapidly that way. What happens or goes wrong in one workshop, we can use that immediately in the next one. That is much more difficult if you organize 20 courses with 20 different local organizations in countries, because they don't share their experiences with each other. So it happened again and again that I saw the same mistakes being made, or what one organizer had done well was completely screwed up 2 weeks later at another company in another country. And so there's more continuity this way, and I like that.
Yeah, I think it gives a real opportunity for people to exchange ideas and make it more of a learning lab, a wider learning lab. Lisette, sorry, I'll talk to you now.
No, actually, that goes directly into what I was going to say. Is one of the things that we're learning is that many people are a little confused by how this workshop works, because instead of having top-down organization, we're actually and also, you know, conversely, a participant can't just buy a ticket and then expect to be entertained at the workshop. They're being asked to participate from the time that they register with what venue should we use, what food should we have, what should the evening activity be. All of the participants are being asked to voice their opinion. And we're finding with the self-organization aspect of it is that it confuses people, because now we have to do things in a different way. We can't just market it the way it used to be marketed. It has to come from people wanting to be there. And so our challenge is, of course, to let as many people know about it as they can, but also to help sort of wrangle people into creating this and changing the perspective of how it's looked at. So I like that it's not top-down and that it's actually bottom-up, which is the whole point of Management 3.0.
Exactly, I agree. So in a way, it's funny that people are interested in attending it, but then they expect that it is organized in a traditional way. Well, we try to turn that upside down and tell them, okay, well, you want it, so now you're going to experience it and actually do something yourself. So, for example, the countries that we plan are based on the readers of the mailing list. I don't pick my favorite countries. We just go from top to bottom, to the most readers to the fewest readers. So it's the readers basically inviting me, and then we leave it up to them to decide which city do you think that we should go to. So Poland, for example, just decided that Warsaw and Katowice or Krakow would be the most obvious choices. Okay, then I go there because you want me there. And then the next topic is, what venue do you think that we should go to? So every time we leave it to them. And the next question is, how many participants will we have? Because if we do not have enough participants, okay, then I won't be coming. It is your workshop, so you have to make sure we fill the workshop. There are plenty of others on the backlog, so we'll just continue with the next one. As Lisette said last week, and that was a good point, it is more pull versus push. Traditionally, courses are pushed onto a calendar and onto a community, basically, and then people are pushed to please go to the event. I go where people invite me, and that's more fun, and then ask them to make sure that the class is filled. So if there's not enough interest, okay, that's fine, no harm done. We'll continue with the next city. So it is more pull than push. I agree with that, and I think that's a good thing.
And in a number of cities, there are licensed Management 3.0 facilitators who are scheduling 2-day workshops, perhaps prior to Jürgen's, so that it's complementary and becomes a whole 3-day package. So there's plenty to do, plenty to learn, and we're working with those folks as well who've been building communities and hosting meetups and doing their own kind of self-organization and kind of plugging them into this bigger conversation. And in terms of the desire for face-to-face and that nothing replaces face-to-face, I mean, we're having one big conversation through all these different channels, but we find that when we try to get people to visit a discussion board and converse with their country mates, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but they always love to sit in a hangout with us and brainstorm and discuss ideas. So as time goes on, we found, wow, you know, this takes a bit of time, but for what the yield is in an hour of face-to-face time through a Hangout, we can't write down the ideas fast enough. They're coming fast and furious, so we really appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it also could be that in some cases we conclude that there's not enough interest for a workshop, but people still want me to come to a 1-hour community event or something like that in an evening. We could still discuss that, obviously, and then the workshop was not meant to happen. All right, we still will have had fun and have interesting conversations on the Hangouts and learn from that for the next workshop. So I'm sure it will all be a very interesting ride for all of us.
Well, and because it's become more personal, it is actually building a community. Sort of in what we're doing, this whole process is a community building process. Now that we're having conversations several times a week with people in different countries about what they would like to see in their workshop, we're slowly building very important ties to each other, because we all care about Management 3.0 and we all care about changing our organizations, and slowly connections are being made this way. So it might be a slow process, but it's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where remote and collaboration really go together, because if you care about the same things, you don't want to leave the conversation. You want to stay in the conversation and find out who else is in it and invite more people. And so we're not all going to be together all the time. We may attend a conference on that topic once a year, and in between, we're remote, but we still care. So we find all different ways to communicate.
Exactly, and now we come back to the original first topic, which is about caring and making collaboration work. So it's we come full circle. It all is all related with each other.
What's up next? What's ahead for you?
I'm sorry, next for me, you mean?
Yep.
Okay. Well, next for me is getting the book done. That's a big next for me. I'm now working on the last chapters. I have 3 copy editors and 50 proofreaders, keeping everyone busy, processing the latest stories that are submitted to me by readers that I will include in the book, and then it will be available. The PDF version will be available for free next month in May. I will schedule other versions, Kindle versions and paper versions later in the year, but PDF is intended to be free. And it should be ready before the workshop start. I have a very strict deadline. No book, no workshop. So that's
no
my
pressure.
Focus. Yes, exactly.
Okay,
Well,
and Eleanor and Lisette, what's up for you?
Well, together we are launching ourselves as Collaboration Superpowers. So the website will be up shortly, and people can sign up for our mailing list and get our tips and tools and surprises as we interview folks and continue this journey. We expect to compile all of the interviews together, along with our experiences with Jürgen and with other clients, into a remote field guide coming up later this year. And Lizette's built interesting contacts with companies who are offering different tools. Squiggle is one of them through the remote work sessions, and there's some pretty high-tech stuff we might be trying soon. Did you want to? Can we mention that?
Yeah, I would love to mention that. One of our contacts that we've been working with as Collaboration Superpowers is Agile Bill Krebs, who is a virtual world guru. And he's been taking us on a tour of some really fabulous virtual worlds. One is Sococo, which is shockingly easy to use and a really lovely platform for working remotely. And the other, of course, is Second Life, which is not a new platform, but it's very difficult. The learning curve is very high in order to learn how to use Second Life. It's a virtual world with avatars, and you interact with people with your avatar. But it's the potential for learning in these virtual worlds is extremely high, and the possibilities are incredible. And so we're just exploring these options as to when should people use a virtual world over a tool like a Hangout or a Squiggle, or what are the different uses and where can they be useful for people. So yeah, we're interviewing lots of people and exploring different companies, and we hope to bring that all together on our website and with our book, the Field Guide for Collaboration Superpowers.
Excellent. Well, I'd like to thank you all very much. I mean, one of my observations is that, you know, think back to our last program with Doug Kirkpatrick on the mental shift that people have to go to when they come from a traditional organization into one that's self-organizing. The shift is the same as it is when you have to collaborate. It's about personal responsibility. Instead of relying on someone else to look after everything else for you, you basically step in and just, you know, engage, participate, coordinate, communicate, you know, and work with other people. It seems to me that's really the thread that ties
being proactive. Proactive communication is really sounds like what you're talking about here.
Yeah, yeah, and it's actually a little bit stronger than that, because Doug said when they move in, someone moves into Morningstar, it takes them about a year to adjust, and I think that process would probably be accelerated if when people can understand that the shift is really just, you know, you're not waiting, you're engaging, you're doing it, and Jürgen, you described that well with respect to the book tour and how that's unfolding.
Yeah, it's basically trying to do exactly that. I mean, it's not me organizing an event and then begging everyone to please come to my show. It's more collaborative and telling everyone, look, I'm available, I reserved that date, but now you have to work with me to make it happen. Otherwise, there won't be anything. And I think that's more respectful. It is also more interesting, and it creates ownership, and I believe that's important. People will be feel like they own that workshop together with me, and that's a big difference. The proactivity, indeed, as Lizette pointed out.
And that idea of simply stepping in, it's like constantly questioning the assumptions, or being willing to be open-minded about the assumptions on which you're basing your work. The idea that it has to look a certain way or get done a certain way. And with remote collaboration, there are numerous possibilities, but the focus is on what are we delivering and delivering that value.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you all very much.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.